Welcome everyone. We just went live, but my dog also went crazy. I want to welcome all the guests coming in online for this online interview with the students of the master specializations of the biology specializations of Leiden University. Of course, it's a really strange time now. We're all sitting back home, or we were working all remotely. So this is a special time, and it does have disadvantages that you cannot visit the university itself. But of course, it also gives advantages that, for example, you live abroad, and then you can nicely come into this online session. So first, maybe nice to introduce myself. I'm the moderator of this interview with the students and also the coordinator. So my name is Noortje Dannenberg, and I'm a PhD student of the Klaassen Lab. Yeah, I will be your host today. So then I want to give the floor to the master coordinator, or one of the master coordinators, Marijn van der Zee. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Noortje. Yes, my name is Maurijn van der Zee. I'm the coordinator of one of the 4 research specializations that we offer, the evolutionary biology specialization. And well, I hope to be able to answer a lot of your questions today. Important to remark already, Noortje said, of course, that we are often working remotely. I think it is important to remark that a lot of the practicals also we offer in courses are still taking place, although in smaller groups, but it is not so that you are entirely at home. And also all internships, master students that do an internship, we really try to get everybody still going to the lab and doing some real practical work, even in these times.
Okay, thank you, Marijn. Now it's also nice to meet our students. So let's start with Grace. Can you please tell me who you are and what kind of specialization you are doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a specialization in evolutionary biology, and it's the master's track that I'm following. And yeah, I come from New Zealand, but I'm half Dutch, which is why I am studying in the Netherlands. That's me.
Cool. Nice to meet you. And then our second student is Tom.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Tom. I did a master specialization in molecular genetics and biotechnology. And I also did a part with science communication and society. So I combined 2 of the masters. And I'm a Dutch student, live nearby Leiden. So that's why I came to the Leiden University.
Okay, thank you. Also nice to meet you, or I already know you. So so for this interview, we also would like to have a little bit interaction with our listeners. So for this, you can send in your own questions, so we can answer them. So this is something new for me, so we have to try it out. But let me see. We have a link. 1, 2, 3, share. Okay, so if you follow this link, you come to a platform where you can send in your questions, and then we can also put them through the students. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so I'm back again. So I also want to try out like a question maybe for our listeners where they come from later, but that's for a trial later. So maybe let's start with the interview. So Maurijn, we have these specializations. Can you tell me why? What is so unique about the biology specializations of Leiden? Why should we come study here?
Yeah, well, I think I hope that everybody watched already the presentation of our Director of Education, Han de Winde, that was pre-recorded. That really contains all the information about all the master specializations that we offer. We have 4 of them, 4 research specializations: the biodiversity and sustainability, the evolutionary biology, and we have a master specialization from cells to organisms, and molecular genetics and biotechnology. That's the 4th research master specialization. And well, in Leiden, the teaching is offered by a great variety of institutes where you can also do your internships. So we have Naturalis, for instance, the big natural history museum here in the Netherlands, cooperates with the teaching here where you can do your internships. We are in the middle of a very active bioscience park where there's also a lot of possibilities to do internship at companies. We have the Institute of Environmental Sciences of the university where you can do internships. So I think one of the nice things if you go to Leiden is that you can use really state-of-the-art type of facilities, and because of our contacts and our location, we can also offer you very nice places to do your internship, both at the university but also somewhere else.
Okay, thank you for your clear answer. So if we go to our student Grace, do you agree with this? Is this part of your motivation to choose for Leiden?
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to go to Leiden was because of the partnership with Naturalis. I thought that was super cool. I really wanted to get involved in a more like a wider level than just within the university, and of course working with Naturalis meant I could really see research happening in action, and also you can get into Naturalis for free if you do an internship with them, which is also nice, I suppose.
Okay, great. And how about you, Tom?
Tom, I think you're muted.
Yes, not anymore. Yeah. It was, I think the most important reason because it was convenient for me in a nearby home. But I do agree with that there are many possibilities also to work at a hospital, in the research groups, many companies, and also the institute itself has many kinds of research, where you can participate. So I agree that it's really nice to do internships, and there's lots of space to do so in the curriculum.
Okay, so I was looking already at some of our questions asked. So let me share the screen again, if that is possible. Here you go. So I had a question of Rosemary Boekhaven. Tom, how did you combine 2 masters?
I initially started with the science communication master, and it's part of a biology master. So you don't choose for a research master, but just a broad master biology where you can choose for courses that are biology related. And then in the second year, you do a specialization for science communication, for instance, or science-based business. But in the first year, I chose research courses that were related to molecular genetics and biotechnology. And I liked the research master that much that I wanted to resume it in the second year. But I did want to do some EC also in the communication. So I think I did 19 EC, so how do you call it? EC is
Credits,
like, so 19 EC on communication and the rest of it on research. So it was quite easy to combine. I had to do 4 extra EC at the end because it was non-biology related. That's specific details. But it was really not easy to combine, and I really liked the combination.
Maybe indeed to sketch the big lines of how this works. As I said, indeed we have 4 research master specializations that I mentioned: the biodiversity and sustainability, the evolutionary biology, the from cells to organisms, and the molecular genetics and biotechnology. But in addition, we have 3 so-called kind of combined master specializations. and those are the biology and education, when you want, for instance, to become a teacher. The science, communication, and society master specialization that Tom was talking about, and biology and business studies. If you're, for instance, interested to start an own company or go more into business with your biology study. And the idea is with these three combined master specializations that in the first year, you basically do one of the four research masters, because we think it is really important if you're a biologist that you are at least trained to know and understand really science and be in fact a scientist. And then in the second year you choose or you go and do your specialization into education or science communication if you want to become a journalist or so, or an educator at a museum, or the business studies if you're more interested in doing a company. So in this way you combine both the science of biology with a more applied direction. So it's the idea that you do the 1 year at the one, and then in the second year you follow the courses and the internships belonging to your combined specialization.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like you can really design your own program. Am I right?
Yeah, I think in the end that is one of also an important message to send. I think we have, of course, those four research master specializations, and you can choose some. Then you have to follow some courses. Some courses are obligatory, but there's still a lot of space to choose courses that you like from other specializations, even from outside the university or something. So there is still a lot of space to design your own master program. And I think, of course, in the end, with choosing an internship and really doing your research, there you are the biggest designer of your own master program, basically, because, yeah, then you're going really to do what you like to do.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. So I was looking again at some questions. Click, click, click. And there you go. So here we have a question from Rachel Engels, and it's about the requirements and pre-masters. So maybe that's good to ask about to you, like what kind of requirements do you need to apply for a master? Do you need a pre-master? When do you need a pre-master? So I think that's good to go into detail.
Yeah, well, I will only say something general about it. If you have specific questions about your own situation, like the question that just came in, please join the Q&A session. There's also our study advisor there, and she can really answer your question specifically. In general, if you have a bachelor in a biology related or a biology study, then the rule is if you have a biology bachelor from Leiden University, you will be anyway admitted to any of the master specializations. If you have a biology bachelor of a Dutch university, you will also be admitted. If you have a bachelor in biology from any other origin, you're really likely probably going to be admitted, because in the rule is we accept people with a bachelor in biology or biology related subjects. So only if you have really something else, you should indeed contact our student administration. You can also talk with the study advisor, because in the end, the final decision is made by a committee that does all the admissions. But generally speaking, if you have a bachelor in a biology-related study, you can be admitted to the master program.
Okay, thank you. So I want to switch to our students. So I want to ask you guys, how was your experience doing your masters? Are they what kind of opportunities did you guys had for doing projects or doing internships? So maybe we can start again with Grace.
So for my specialization in evolutionary biology, I started off, of course, with 4 different compulsory courses. So I had to get those out of the way. I done like first, essentially, and then at the start of this year, I started my first internship. And the way I found that one was through a internship market. So I don't know if it's terribly relevant right now, but at the time, basically a whole bunch of different professors and researchers came together and they set up little presentations, little posters around a couple of labs, just in one of the science buildings. And I could go around, have a talk with all the researchers and decide what I thought would fit the most and what I liked. And I found someone who I thought would be perfect. I talked with him and I sent him an email, and then he just said, yeah, I'd be happy to have you. And then we basically set it all up, and that was exactly how I did it, and it worked really well. I liked having all those options right in front of me. But now, of course, I don't know if this sort of internship expo will be happening. I'll have to see. And at the moment, they really have an online sort of version of that where one of the professors has created a system where you can enter. It's a website where you can enter different keywords that you're interested in, and it will link you to different professors. So it can really show you which professors or researchers will be best fit for you. So it's a good alternative for now. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. How would you describe the relation between students and professors?
I think it's quite chill, really. They're like all the professors I've had, they're open to just having a talk about how you're doing or what things you're stuck on, or if you're having some problems. I liked all my professors; they're all pretty cool. And same with my internship researcher. What's the word? Like my coordinator. He was also super chill. He was really guiding as well. So he let me sort of go a little bit the way I wanted, but he also made sure that I was all, confident in what I was doing. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. And how about your experience, Tom? How has your experience been?
Yeah, I also used the internship market with the poster presentations of the research projects. I met up with a teacher, researcher that had an interesting project, and I was able to do my first internship over there. And I really liked it. It was also, the contact is pretty personal here at the institute, and as Grace mentioned, it's really chill, relaxed. No pressure. But you're able to do nice research, so that was nice. For the second project, it was via my prior supervisor that I got an internship at the hospital. So with the contacts I obtained, and that was likewise also nice. Yeah,
I think indeed the program is and the whole institutes that are participating are pretty informal. That means it is pretty easy to get contact with the researchers and the supervisors. And we start every research specialization also with an orientation course. And in that orientation, many teachers will pass and tell about their research. And in that orientation course, you already see very well what is possible for internships. So I think making the contact and approaching somebody to ask for possibilities for an internship, we really try to accommodate that.
Okay, cool. I would like to follow up on that in that way, Marijn. What kind of opportunities are there for internships? Because there are questions coming, for example, can you go to different companies? How is it between collaborations of research groups, which are not, for example, biology, but for example, chemistry or computational? What kind of opportunities are there?
Yes. So generally speaking, indeed, people usually do one internship, start with an internship. And that means at one of the 3 institutes that really organize the teaching program. That means either at Naturalis or at the Institute of Biology or at the Institute for Environmental Sciences. But we really encourage you to do a second internship somewhere else, either abroad, but also, for instance, indeed at a company. And indeed, I saw also the question about what type of companies are there. Well, we have at the Bioscience Park really a variety of companies, very big um, uh, biological companies like Janssen or so, who's working also on the corona vaccine, but also small startup companies that developed a method to detect with the PCR, for instance, if an egg of a chicken is a male or a female inside. And otherwise, nowadays, many of those male eggs are also bred and they hatch and are in the end destroyed because they only want to keep the female chicks for egg laying. And in this way, that small startup company could prevent a lot of suffering for animals. So it's really an amazing variety. And indeed, the hospital, the LUMC, as Tom said, particularly for your second internship, we really encourage you to look around and find your own things. I hope that kind of answered the question.
Yes, it did. Let's see. I also saw new questions coming in. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is a nice question. So there's a question about can you study part-time? And what are the possibilities for studying part-time instead of full-time? Maybe best to go to Marijn.
Well, to be honest, that's difficult. And it is mainly difficult because the courses in the beginning are indeed scheduled quite during the whole day. Maybe for your internship, you can do a deal with your supervisor that you're only partly there for a certain time. I did that, for instance, once with a student that was working for a living because she had to. And we just made the appointment that she was only there for a few days in the week to do her internship. But overall, I would not really recommend it. In the end, our program is really designed to follow it full time, and you will have difficulties, particularly in the beginning, I think, if you would like to do it part time.
Okay, so maybe nice to follow up with, for example, with the student Tom, because I know a bit about your personal situation. Maybe it's nice to tell something like an inspiration for other students, how to go with that, and the challenges that you had to face.
I've got 2 kids. So during my study, I had to struggle also with the program in order to take care of my children and at the same time finish my program. But as Marijn said, the courses are sometimes quite difficult to do full time. Because you really have to be present, or at least in my case, when it was not the COVID-19 time, I had to be present at the university daily. But with the internships, you can be flexible. I mostly, I think in the bachelor also, I did a 4-day internship, and during my master's also, the second master internship was also 4 days. So that was nice. But yeah, it's not. If you really have to work part time, it's not doable, I guess, in many occasions.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I think you're a nice example of how to finish studies, although it's more difficult in time. So talking about challenges, Grace, did you face any challenges during your studies?
To be honest, not particularly. I don't live in Leiden. I live in Rotterdam, so I suppose a small challenge was just getting to Leiden every day, but I didn't find that too difficult. I mean, the trains are very well connected. I just went from Rotterdam Centraal to Leiden Centraal, and then it's I think about 10-minute walk to the lecture rooms, and I found that really easy. Often it was about half an hour train ride, so I would just do some work or read a book or listen to music. but so that I didn't find that a big challenge, but maybe for some people, distance is inconvenient for them. But to be honest, the biggest annoyance, of course, has just been the corona and doing all my work from home now. But yeah, that I'm sure that will eventually resolve itself.
And living in the Netherlands, like finding a place or getting a bit used to Dutch society, how was that for you?
I think I'm not the classic example of like an international student. I didn't come straight from New Zealand to Leiden. I did my bachelor's here as well, and I did that at University College Roosevelt in Middelburg. And one of the biggest reasons why I chose them was because they had housing as part of their like requirement, so everyone got a room. And I think, and just in terms of general of moving to the Netherlands, I think it was relatively, it was easier than I thought. I had a lot of help, and there's a lot of international students here. So I think the universities in particular are well prepared to handle international students. And of course, Leiden, like a lot of people just have all their courses in English. So it was really easy for me just to slide right in to university life in the Netherlands. And for stuff like opening a bank account and getting a social, like a security number, I don't know what it's called in English, but a BSN, that wasn't too difficult. I just went down to the municipality and they set up, and I bought a few documents. But I think there's a lot of help just from the university themselves if you need help with doing those sort of things. And even if you connect with other students, I think it's also helpful. I mean, if an international student asks me, look, I'm really confused about opening a bank account, I'd be more than happy to help. It's not too much of an issue. So I hope that helps.
Thank you for your nice answer and the insight of coming from abroad. I saw we don't have so much time anymore, and there are a lot of questions coming in. So I thought maybe it's nice to go through some of them. Let me see. Some of the questions are too big to really share.
I saw some question on the numerous fixes, for instance. We do not have a numerous fixes, so in principle, we will never not admit somebody because there's no place anymore, no space. We generally have around, more than 100 master students, not many more, I would say max 150. So it is relatively easy to get to know each other. There are indeed 2 moments that you can start, one in September and one in February. I would really recommend to start in September, because then you start with all the courses and with your orientation course also, and you follow the program as it is designed. Starting in February is possible, but then you have to basically right away start with doing an internship and trying to do some courses, and you have to catch up with the courses in the following September. So it's a bit more of a hassle to start in February. So if possible, I would recommend you to start in September.
Okay. So there was also a question about, is there a site where all of the companies can be found for the internships? I guess there's no website, right?
No, but I think the bio, if you're because you specifically ask about companies, Rosemary, I would recommend you to have a look at the Bioscience Park in Leiden Bioscience Park. They have a website with a list of all the companies that are there.
Okay, and then there's another question about the second internship. So I think Maurijn already explained before that you can do 2 internships. So the first one will be intern, and the second one you can do externally. Is there also another possibility, Maurijn, for the internship?
Yeah, in my impression, the question was more about, is there time reserved? Yes, indeed. Yeah, your courses basically stop. The obligatory courses, particularly if you start in September, will be finished before the Christmas period, more or less, and then you can start with your internships. There's some courses that are offered throughout the year. For instance, there's a course that is every Wednesday afternoon. That's very easy to combine with your internship. But indeed, the internships are simply part of your program, and the time, you have time in that year to do your internship. It's reserved for the internship.
Just looking at all those questions, it's a lot. That's nice.
Yeah, so I recommend. Sorry to interrupt you again, Noortje, but we have, of course, the chat. There's also a chat and a Q&A session. In the Q&A session, there are students who follow master specializations. There, for instance, students who follow the biodiversity and sustainability master specialization. Our study advisor is there. The coordinator of molecular genetics and biotechnology is there. So please go to the Q&A session. It's also a Microsoft Teams platform. You click on the link, you come in Microsoft Teams, and you can right away personally ask the people who are there. And I think that is very, very helpful to do. And they will be there at least until 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh yeah, that will be very helpful. Okay, so until what time do we have for this interview, Marijn?
We have 9 minutes more, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So maybe it's also nice to ask what kind of education system is handled here in Leiden. Like, is it only college or work groups? So can you give more details about what kind of courses you can follow?
Well, maybe the students can answer.
Yes, so maybe this is a nice question for Grace.
I don't quite follow your question. You're asking what courses I followed? Is that the question?
Yeah, for example, do you only go for presentations that you get information, or is it more interactive? Is it work groups?
Okay, yeah. There's definitely a mix of everything. I've done across my courses. I've done presentations, I've done lots of working in groups, and sort of interactive. Especially now, there's a lot of interactive ways in which we can, vote. What's it called? Those apps where you on your phone you can vote on a question during the middle of the lecture, for example. I forgot the name of it. Begins with a K. No, but anyways, but for example, in one of my courses, basically, we had to work in small groups to do a statistical analysis that based on methods that we had learnt, and then we had a small group of people and wrote a bit of a plan on how we were going to build it, and then we wrote the code for it, and then we presented it at the end, and that was part of it. So it involved a bit of a presentation and also group work, and yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So is it possible to also follow courses outside of the specialization?
Yes, definitely. For example, right now I'm doing a course from the biodiversity and sustainability track. I just thought it sounded really cool because I'm currently doing evolutionary biology, but I was very close to doing the biodiversity and sustainability specialization. So it's nice that I can also do a course from that one. The course I'm doing right now is on human impacts on biodiversity, and it's talking about stuff like pollution and climate change, and I think it's really relevant, and I thought it was very interesting, but you can't do that course in evolutionary biology. It's a separate thing.
Yeah, we really recommend you in your own. You have a few courses that you have to do, but you have many credits left to choose your own courses, and you can choose them really from all over the program. It's even possible, if you really would like to compose completely your own program, to do that, then you only have to follow the first obligatory courses, the statistics and genomic architecture, and then you get simply a master in biology without any of the specializations. That's even a possibility if you really want to not follow any preformed track.
So would this also be possible for the whole faculty, for example, or outside the faculty?
Yeah, you're free. Of course, in the end, the examination committee has to agree with it. But in principle, you're free to follow courses at chemistry or even the mathematics. I mean, a lot of computational stuff is done. Yeah, we really encourage you for the credits that you have to spend on courses to compose your own program. And of course, we have recommended courses from your own specialization, but besides that, you can go to other specializations or even outside the biology to the faculty or whatever. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I can talk about the experience from this because I also did some chemistry courses, which were very handy. So maybe it's nice to know more for the student life. How is it organized for master's students? Maybe nice questions for students. So is there an association for master students? How is this? Are there any activities organized? Do you guys do that kind of activities before Corona?
Maybe Tom wants to say something about it. Or
Tom
was a busy father, or Grace, yeah?
I was just going to say I'm not the best example just because I live in Rotterdam, so I couldn't attend everything in the Leiden, student life and things. But for example, one thing I can think of is, of course, there was the introduction week for students if you want to join that, and you can meet people and get involved right away in the student life. I don't know if that's happening again, but that's one example I can think of.
Yeah, the biology students, they do have an association, the Leidse Biologen Club, and well, they organize all kinds of things like drinks and excursions.
That's nice. But there's also, because next to the building of the biology building, there's also the sports center. Does our students make use of that, of the sports center?
I did during the bachelor's. I think for not too much fee, you can use the sports center with there are many different not work groups, but sport groups that you, or even clubs like basketball, football, volleyball, many different sports you can participate, but you also have fitness, even ping pong. It's really a large variety of sports for a small fee. So it's nice. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So so I think we are now almost running out of time. Maybe it's nice to end with the question. Okay, I decide to start studying a master at Leiden at biology. So I come there, and to whom can I come with my questions? Is there a central person to which I can pose my questions to? Marijn.
Yeah, well, we have, of course, our education office. Our education office is really, really doing a lot of work. So also give them some time, please, to answer if they do not immediately answer your question, because they really have a lot to do. But they are always they are for all kinds of practical questions, like subscribing for a course, administering for internships, and stuff like that. Yes, our education office is the main place to go to. I think we have a study advisor also. She is also in the Q&A session, so please go there if you have any specific questions. I saw also that there were a lot of questions about what the specific master research specializations were actually about, like from cells to organisms. I really recommend you to watch the video that Han de Winde recorded, the presentation about our master specialization.
not?
I also get a lot of questions. Where can they find this video? Where can they go to the question, the Q&A?
Yeah, that's a very good question because yeah, I think you have to. I mean, there is that master's, the master program website. I don't have the exact link for you at the very moment. I'll try to communicate that to you. How should we do that? I don't know.
Maybe you can share it in the Biolo link chat.
Oh yeah, maybe is that possible? But maybe we can put it on that Biolo. Yeah, that's. I will try to post a link there. Yeah, when I found it, I post a link there, and we can put it on that biolo.joinlive.tv site for a while. I guess that should work. Sorry that it's not easy enough to find for you. It was centrally organized by the faculty.
We don't have anything to do with it. Okay, so I think we have come to an end, right? Yes. So I want to thank everyone also for giving all those questions. There were a lot, so I would suggest to go with these questions to the Q&A in the program to the link that we don't know.
We will post it. We will post it.
Okay. Sorry, Marijn, what did you say?
I said we try to put the links on the Biolo joinlive.tv for a while. I think it will not be active all the time, but just for a while so that you can click on it and follow it. I'll try to find them out as soon as possible for you.
Okay. Well, I want to thank our students for joining and answering these questions. Maybe it was a bit chaotic with also the questions of the prospective students coming in and us figuring out how to do this. But of course, this is a special time, and we really appreciate that you were here to answer those questions. Maybe a nice advice for the prospective students to take home from Grace.
Yeah. Well, Pig Laden, I really like it here. I don't really have any major downsides. So I think just keep your options open, apply, and if you can't decide if you want to apply or not, just do it, and then you can decide later.
Okay, very inspirational. And Tom?
Yes, I totally agree. There's a lot of flexibility, a lot of options. Yeah, you can fill in your own program, and that's really nice. And yeah, it's informal, nice people, nice professors. So just join.
Okay, thanks. Marijn, final remarks?
Yeah, design your own program. This is the time to design your own teaching.
Boo! Okay, well, thanks everyone. Should we close the meeting?
I guess we can. Thanks a lot.